diamond bats. Let's get things started. So, this is my Gibson SG. Yes, Gibson. It's a Gibson. It's a real Gibson. It's not a copy, it's a Gibson. And for many, many years, when I first started playing guitar, I really wanted a Gibson SG, but I could never possibly ever afford one. And even as I grew up and I got further into my career, I never felt like I really deserved one. And so I always had copies, and then for a while I had other guitars that I could either get at a lower price or maybe some partial endorsement or whatever. And until finally it got to about 2018 and I thought, I've wanted one of these my entire life. I think it's time. I think I can say that I'm definitely in this job for the long haul, so let's get it. So this is an extremely special guitar for me. The look of this guitar is, of course, very important to me. I love the SG shape. It's always been iconic for me. To me, it toes the line perfectly between being a classic look while having a bit of edge and a bit of excitement. Now, when I bought this, it was actually all black. So this bit here, the scratch plate, was black, and it was half the size, because the other shape that you can get is this sort of smaller shape, which is actually called the bat wing. So really, it was a black on black bat wing. But I changed it. I love the look of the fuller face scratch plate, white on black. I think it's really striking. In the 80s, Angus Young, who I'll speak a bit about later, of AC/DC, had this very guitar. And in fact, I had a Heat Seeker poster that I had on my wall during those formative years that was staring down at me the whole time. So this guitar shape, this look was very much part of my environment in those formative times. It's got block markers here. I think are cooler than the dots that you'll often see on guitars. And a little fun fact here, these glow in the dark. And these were put in especially by the wonderful Lawrence O'Keefe, who is guitar teching for us in Sisters of Mercy. Thank you, Loz. This is brilliant because you can charge these up and you can actually see in the dark when you're playing. And this scratch plate modification was done brilliantly for me by Kieran of Guitar in Camden, London. This is going out to you, Kieran. You're my top gun. The name of this guitar is the brilliantly pretentious. It's Myshella, the Sleeping Sorceress. Now, the reason why the guitar has this ludicrous name is because ever since I started playing, I've made a point of naming all of my guitars after female characters in a series of fantasy sci-fi books by a writer called Michael Moorcock. Yes, Adam, Moorcock. Now, probably the biggest reason I love this guitar is because I'm a huge fan of AC/DC when I was growing up. And Angus Young was one of the people who made the SG so famous. That classic look, of course, when it's red, this is very devil-like. And to begin with, I actually had a dark red tribute to Angus SG copy. But Angus was always really important to me. I think initially I got attracted to, as any kid would, the fact that he was just so zany, you know, dressing up as like a school kid, and that sort of iconic look, and he was so mad on stage and so active and so energetic. His lead playing was sophisticated and yet just with technique and technicality, and just yet so bluesy and so effective, and the way that he placed the notes in the scale and in the solos just always really captivated me. And that riff that I played at the start there was a classic AC/DC song, and you know, Malcolm was a huge riff writer in that band, a huge part of that band, Angus's brother, and I don't know exactly who penned that riff, which one of them, but it's classic DC and simple and yet effective and quite dark. And that's the era of AC/DC that I like the most, is the sort of early 80s era where they had riffs, you know, very much like that. And there's another one that I love, which is off Fly on the Walls. Now, if a riff was a truck, that's the truck riff. I just absolutely love it. 3 chords, just sheer brute simplicity, attitude. Love it. So yeah, AC/DC. The strings on this guitar are 10 to 52s. Thank you, Roto Sound. They are it's a heavier gauge on the low strings for the. So I need heavier strings for those lower tunings. And then because I do a little bit of lead playing now and then, I want lighter strings for the high. Anyone can name that theme tune? You get a point. So that's it. My Sheller, the Sleeping Sorceress, influenced very much by AC/DC of the 80s. Kind of my dream guitar. I've got my dream guitar. And how many people could say that? So very, very pleased, very happy. I'm very proud to have performed with my Sheller now all over the world to audiences of all sorts of people. And of course the Through the Misery video, Diamond Black, feet. Thanks for watching. And to see us out, I will